Oranges. The very word is touched with romance. For over 1,000 years, oranges have been the symbol of tropical luxury and abundance. And long before the first authentic historical reference to citrus fruits, the golden apples in the Garden of Hesperides were mentioned in Greek mythology. During this long history, oranges have spread throughout the semi-tropical world. They flourish in China, in India, and in storied Arabia. Their waxy blossoms perfume the air of Spain, of Italy, and of Palestine. Orange trees carpet the valleys of California and the broad plains of tropical Brazil. But in all the world, there is no more favored region for the production of citrus fruits than the peninsula of Florida. Projecting from the mainland of the United States like a huge thumb, Florida is bathed in the frost-defying warm waters of the Gulf Stream. The mild climate and rich soil have encouraged the growth of a great citrus industry in the central and southern parts of the state. In the very heart of the Florida citrus belt is a county named, appropriately, Orange County. It is a lovely land of rolling hills covered with orange groves and studded with 1,000 clear blue lakes. Here in the quiet little village of Dr. Phillips, men are doing today what Columbus first did in the New World 450 years ago, planting the seeds of oranges and carefully nursing the tiny trees to vigorous growth. But today's orange grower has learned a trick or two since Columbus's time. He plants the seeds of hardy, fast-growing but inedible varieties, and then, by grafting, persuades these robust roots to yield sweet oranges. This 2-year-old sour orange seedling would, if left alone, produce a fruit with the flavor of quinine and vinegar. But by a neat bit of tree surgery, a bud from the sweet orange tree is inserted in the bark of the trunk. A wrapping of waxed tape protects against the entrance of water. Soon the bud swells into a sprout, which grows vigorously. The top of the original sour orange tree is cut off, and from the sweet orange sprout grows a complete new top, which will in due time produce a fruit like the tree from which the bud was taken. The budded rootstock grows in the nursery for 2 more years. Then it is ready to be set in its permanent location in the grove. The top is cut off to compensate for the damage done to the roots in transplanting. A new top soon grows from buds on the trunk. The young trees are set in parallel lines in ground which has been cleared. During this period and throughout the remainder of its long life, the grove must be heavily fertilized at frequent intervals. Orange trees are heavy feeders and quickly exhaust the fertility of even the finest soils. Cultivation is needed to mix the plant food with the soil. This breaks up and hastens the decay of vegetation, which is encouraged between the rows at certain seasons to provide humus. Does it surprise you to learn that even in Florida, orange groves are sometimes irrigated? Florida's annual rainfall is heavy, but sometimes there are periods of drought. During these periods, far-sighted and well-equipped growers pump water from the nearby lakes to keep the trees and fruit in perfect condition. And now from such peaceful scenes we turn to one of battle, for the orange grower is eternally at war against man's most numerous and persistent enemies, insects and fungus diseases. The smooth, bright oranges, which your grocer so proudly displays, are produced only at the price of constant vigilance. When the enemy appears, the alert grower leaps to the attack with a deadly barrage of spray and dust. The reward for all of this painstaking care comes when the fruit is ripe and ready for the market. And this brings up an important question. How does a grower who produces over 100 million oranges every year determine just when each orange in that golden flood has reached the peak of its goodness? Here's how. When casual sampling indicates that the fruit is ready to eat, a field laboratory is quickly set up right in the grove. Then representative samples are picked and the juice is extracted. Not only must the quantity of juice exceed a legal minimum, but the amount of sugar and acid must be accurately determined. Inspectors stationed in each house by the state of Florida will repeat these same tests before permitting any fruit to be shipped. But the field testers of this careful grower are checking, not for minimum requirements, but for maximum flavor and ripeness. Now the workers swarm through the grove to harvest the golden fruit. Notice how carefully each orange is clipped from the branch and laid in the picking bag. The greatest care must be exercised when handling the fruit, for the pickers know that a bruised orange is subject to quick decay. Tangerines are handled in exactly the same way as oranges. Surprise, the only spot in the Western Hemisphere where tangerines are grown. The freshly picked fruit is deposited into field boxes, which are loaded on motor trucks and hurried to the nearby house. Rearing its huge bulk high above the surrounding groves, this giant packing house of Dr. Phillips, Florida, can prepare 20 carloads of oranges, grapefruit, and tangerines in a single day. Never guess that the oranges you buy from your grocer have been given a thorough but sure their arrival in your kitchen in perfect condition. First, the dirt is loosened by soaking. Then the oranges are scrubbed with rotary brushes in foamy suds. After this brisk cleansing, they are spotless and shining, but often quite pale in color, even when thoroughly ripe. Florida orange growers were handicapped for years by the fact that their fruit did not have the deep orange shade needed to make its eye appeal equal its taste appeal. Then someone made the happy discovery that pouring harmless coloring solution over the fruit would do the trick. Of course, you know that almost all butter is colored. In fact, the coloring matter in a single pound of butter is enough to color the peel of a whole. Just look at the difference it makes. Here's another interesting fact. A green orange just won't take the color. Even after its beauty bath, a green orange is still green, so you need never fear that coloring oranges will cause you to mistake an unripe orange for a ripe one. After this cosmetic treatment, the fruit is sprayed with a fine mist of wax to prevent excess evaporation and shrinkage on its way to you. Then a brisk polishing, and the now glowing oranges scurry along to the grading belt where expert graders separate the perfect ones from those bearing blemishes. Now on each golden peel is proudly stamped the brand name, so that the buyer of this prime fruit can identify it on sight when he returns for more. Separation into uniform sizes is mechanically accomplished in a jiffy. Each size pops into a separate bin for convenience and speed in packing. And now expert girls pack the fruit into boxes. Scarcely is each box filled before it is fastened securely and then trucked to the waiting railroad cars. Here's one day's production of Dr. Phillips alone, heading north, perhaps to your hometown, bringing oranges to balance the over-refined American diet, bringing the precious vitamin C which your children need for healthy, normal growth, bringing calcium and phosphorus for sound bones and teeth and tissues. Grandfather can remember when oranges were a rare and special treat. Today, oranges are among the cheapest and most abundant of foods. In this modern food store, oranges are being sold as they should be, by the pound. Then there is no guessing as to how much orange juice your dollar will buy, for you can depend upon it. 10 pounds of Florida oranges will give you more than 2 quarts of pure juice. For convenience, you can also buy orange juice in cans. Now let us visit Orlando and see just how the canning is done. This charming city with its 33 lakes, luxuriant tropical foliage, and general air of spick and spanness is justly famous as one of America's most beautiful cities. Here in the springtime, the flame vine spreads its sheet of gold. From one end of the city to the other, azaleas stage a riotous display of color. Orlando's sister city, Winter Park, is a community of unique charm. It is the home of Rollins College, which boasts a campus of rare architectural unity and beauty. On the boundary between Orlando and Winter Park are the Mead Botanical Gardens, a natural wonderland of tropical vegetation. Here, exotic orchids hold court in regal splendor. Hello, there's a truckload of ripe oranges going to the cannery. Let's follow along. Unloading is quickly accomplished. In fact, every operation in the canning of citrus fruit is done with such speed that only a few hours elapse from the time that the ripe fruit is picked from the tree until it is sealed, precious vitamins and all, in sterilized tins. Inside the cannery, our oranges are washed and scrubbed until their tender peel fairly glows. Then the immaculate fruit is halved by automatic machines which gently extract the juice. It takes but a moment to fill one of these stainless steel tanks. Each batch of juice is swiftly analyzed by a waiting chemist. In the most modern plants, like this one, dextrose sugar is added to standardize and enhance the flavor. Dextrose is a natural sugar, which is one of the chief fuel sources of the body. Hence, it amplifies the already high food value of orange and grapefruit juices. Now, after a flash pasteurization, the juice is hurried into waiting battalions of bright, sterilized cans. With machine gun speed and precision, the cans are sealed at the rate of 10,000 an hour. Then they are chilled in tanks of cold water. Let's look in on the preparation of grapefruit for canning. First, the grapefruit is immersed in water just under the boiling point for 2 or 3 minutes to loosen the peel. Then, 2 quick cuts with a sharp knife, and removing it now becomes almost as easy as peeling a banana. Try it sometime. The peeled fruit moves to the sectionizing tables in stainless steel baskets. Here, expert girls carefully separate the sections, at the same time removing the seeds. Every square inch of this stainless steel equipment is sterilized with live steam at frequent intervals throughout the day. Grapefruit for canning must be of appropriate size and of just the right degree of ripeness. Only the variety which contains seeds is of the proper quality to produce the plump, firm sections which distinguish Florida canned grapefruit. Sterilizing heat is applied in the form of steam. with temperatures carefully regulated by automatic controls. After sterilizing, a quick and thorough chilling is as important for the sections as for the orange juice. When cool, the cans are conveyed to the labeling machine. This is a simple but fascinating little gadget which attaches the labels as fast as the cans are able to scamper through it. A few years ago, Florida oranges and grapefruit were available at their best for only about 8 months of the year. Today, these health-giving fruits and their juices, captured in cans at the moment of ripe perfection, are stowed away in handy cases for convenient use during every season. The cases are stacked in a great, cool warehouse, awaiting shipment to lovers of citrus fruits from Cape Cod to San Francisco Bay. Whether freshly extracted from nature's protective peel or taken from a convenient tin, citrus fruits add zest and color and health values to every mealtime. It's so easy to tempt the family appetite with tangy citrus combinations. Use them for appetizers and cocktails, for fruit cups and fruit salads, for orange pies and puddings, for citrus punches and sherbets. The number of eye and palate-tempting dishes is almost limitless. Best of all, these mouth-watering treats will make the whole meal taste better and digest better. There's no need to remind mothers that to modern young America, orange juice is almost as indispensable as milk. Orange juice for breakfast and before and after strenuous play provides children with refreshment and with a natural, quickly available source of the finest types of food energy, sugar. Like this sturdy young man, most children are eager for more. School children are particularly fond of tangerines because they are so easy to eat and easy to peel. Incidentally, of all citrus fruits, tangerines contain the highest percentage of calcium, the bone-building element. That's good. Only about half the weight of an orange is juice. What about the other half? Is that wasted? Not at all. The essential oil of orange is extracted from the peel for use in flavoring extracts, and Milady's perfume often contains a dash of it. After every product suitable for human use has been extracted from the orange, the remaining pulp, seeds, and peel are made into dried citrus pulp, a feed for dairy cattle. First, the pulp is finely divided and much of the moisture pressed out. Then it is dried in giant steam-heated cylinders. The finished product looks much like bran as it comes warm and fragrant from the kilns. It's not surprising that cattle are very fond of it and thrive amazingly on it. Controlled tests have proved that feeding it produces more milk and butter fat than does the dairyman's old standby, dried beet pulp. And now, as we leave the land of oranges for our own firesides, it is pleasant to remember that no matter where our homes may be, Florida citrus or citrus juice are never further away than the corner food store. Grandfather's Christmas treat has become the daily necessity of modern diets. Well, here's Health Shield.